want to get Giles Barnes on the ball more.
Happened time and again. It worked out very, very nicely for the black and gold. And especially here as Higuain gets through. Tyler Derrick grabs his ankle and gets the red card.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Week 2 edition of Instant Replay, where I give you my take on the most controversial calls of the weekend. I'm Simon Borg. We start in Seattle and the stunning win by the Quakes at CenturyLink. But for a moment, it looked like the visitors were in a bad spot when Quakes defender Victor Bernardes got a straight red for this kick on Michael Azira. Bernardes will argue that he just whiffed on the ball and it was reckless at most. But to me, it looked like he knew he missed the ball and went in anyway. It's ultimately a judgment call by the ref, and I have to agree with Baldomero Toledo. Now, Azira probably deserved a red of his own for whacking innocent Emegara in the face 5 minutes later. Honestly, what's Azira's arm doing that high? There's no excuse for a hand to the head like that, but Azira gets by with just a yellow. The Sounders made it interesting in the end, pulling a goal back in the 84th minute, and there was a hint of an offside here, but assistant Frank Anderson nails it. Andy Rose is even with Sean Francis on the Obafemi Martins goal. Heading down to Portland, where it's just one play under the microscope, it's the 78th minute, and La Gata Fernandez goes down in the box with Robbie Rogers on his back. There's nothing there. Good no call by referee Eladio Grajeda. Next to Chicago, where referee Fotis Bazakos had a handful of PK appeals to deal with in this one. After just 3 minutes, rookie Matt Polster brought down Kikuramane, and I agree with Bazakos. The foul starts just outside the box. Now, Polster got a yellow on that play, and he had a rough first outing. In fact, he probably should have been sent off. The Rook should count himself lucky he didn't get a second yellow for this foul on Pedro Morales. As usual, Quincy Amarikwa was in the middle of things for the Fire. In the 11th minute, he may have been deserving of a PK. The footage is not entirely clear, but we do get a hint that Stephen Beitashour may have tripped him up. Vancouver's Mauro Rosales was also tripped up a few times in this game, but he had to leave the match in the 42nd minute after suffering an injury on this challenge by Lavelle Palmer. The foul was called, but no card, and I'm with Bazakos on this one. That's a fair tackle. With the score tied 0-0, the Whitecaps wanted a PK for a handball by Eric Gehrig in the box, but Gehrig had no chance to react to this shot by Octavio Rivero. That was ball to hand. Play on. Speaking of Rivero, he scored the late game winner for the Whitecaps, but he also wanted a penalty in the 74th minute, except I don't see the contact. Looks like he plain whiffs to me. Then 7 minutes later, Rivero was again appealing for a PK, but he gets a yellow for simulation, and it's the right call for me. At Rio Tinto Stadium on Saturday, there was a late penalty awarded, and it was a controversial one since it proved the equalizer for RSL against visiting Philadelphia. It was Philly captain Maurice Edu called for a foul on Luke Mulholland, but that's a pretty harsh call for me. And after the game, even Mulholland himself said that he didn't think it was a penalty. But referee Alan Chapman called it, and Alvaro Saborio put it away for the 3-3 final. Just minutes later in stoppage time, Edu wanted a penalty of his own when his free kick looked like it may have been deflected by the arm of Olmes Garcia, who was in the wall. We only have one look, and while it may be suspicious, it's really hard to tell for sure. Chapman awards the corner. Garcia was involved in a risky play in the 4th minute when his trailing leg strikes goalkeeper Ace Mboli in the face, and some thought maybe a red was warranted. But I don't think there's any malice there. I think he simply breaks stride and has to jump over Mboli a little awkwardly. Chapman gives him an early yellow. To Yankee Stadium, where the big call was the red card to New England captain Jose Gonçalves for denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. It's the 66th minute, and NYCFC rookie Kyrie Shelton is off to the races. Gonçalves gets an arm across the body and makes contact with Shelton's leg, but the rookie is already going down. A bit too easily for me, but referee Mark Geiger has to call it, and it's an automatic red. The other big dog so call of the weekend came in Columbus. This time it's Justin Morrow committing the foul on Crew SC's Ethan Finlay. And it does look like Morrow gets to the ball first, but he fouls Finlay to do it. On the lunge, Morrow's left leg clips Finlay to bring him down. Referee David Gantar initially showed the red to the wrong guy, before ultimately finding Morrow. One of the turning points in the FC Dallas-Kansas City match came on the go-ahead goal for the home side. On the freeze frame, you see there are 5 Dallas players in an offside position when the cross leaves the foot of Michel. But assistant Eric Boria doesn't raise his flag, and it's a second goal for Blas Perez. But just moments before, it looked like Kansas City should have probably had a penalty for at least one of 2 fouls in the box. First, there's a push by Matt Hedges on Dom Dwyer. Then Graham Zusi is fouled by Moises Hernandez, in my opinion. No whistle, and the ball was ultimately cleared. No call from referee Jair Marufo. Ultimately, Sporting Kansas City do get their penalty in the 79th minute, but I'm not sure Hedges does anything to warrant the PK here. Looks to me like Bernardo Añor goes up, perhaps looking for the scissor kick that doesn't come off. The expression on the face of FC Dallas coach Oscar Pareja is epic, as Marufo points to the spot, but Dom Dwyer can't take advantage. Could the visitors have had another PK? It's the 87th minute, and Chris Seitz comes out and absolutely levels Dwyer with a knee to the back as he comes out to punch this ball. Yeah, he gets to it, but he goes through the player. Dwyer doesn't protest, but that's a foul and a penalty to me. There were a couple of other plays in this one that, in my opinion, deserved a harsher sanction from the ref. There's this 35th minute Atiba Harris yellow, which I think could easily be red. Just look how he goes in, studs up. And then go back to a few minutes after the opening whistle when we saw this nasty aerial challenge by Mauro Diaz on Paulo Nagamura. Not even a foul was called on that one, but from this angle you see that Diaz led with his elbow and it looks like he cocks it just as he's going in for the header. I wouldn't have had an issue with a straight red in that spot. One last incident to look at from Frisco, and it comes just as the clock hits 90. Kyle Becker and Kevin Ellis get into a tussle, and it's a yellow for both, which I think is fair by Marufo. And we end in Houston, where Orlando City got their first ever MLS win on a bizarre goal that came late in the match. One of the best players for the Lions was Darwin Seren, but he got off easy in my opinion after going in with his studs showing on Kofi Sargodi. Not even a foul was called by referee Kurs Penso. But the favor was returned in the 39th minute by Ricardo Clark, who was also showing some mettle when he went in for this ball. A foul was called for that one. The Dynamo were shouting for a handball in the box on this shot by Leonel Miranda in the 26th minute, but we only have one angle on the play and it's impossible to see if Seb Hines commits an infraction. But can we all agree that these high hands to the face are annoying? This is Houston's David Horst catching Pedro Ribeiro in the head, and it's similar to Roger Espinoza with a high hand on Dallas's Blas Perez in the Dallas KC game. In my opinion, they're intentional, and yet neither of them was punished by the referee. And lastly, we end on a play involving Orlando star Kaká. He makes this sensational run and is once again denied by goalkeeper Tyler Derrick. But as he rolls out of bounds, is that a kick out on Kofi Sargodi? That's all we have for this week. For our editor Abner Sevis, I'm Simon Borg. See you next time!